Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about my October wrap-up. So I totally feel like I haven't recorded a video in months, and it's only been a month since I recorded my last video, but life's been extremely busy. I couldn't get any other videos out during October because my husband and I moved. We finally moved. We are in Montana now. This is actually not our apartment. We don't have an apartment. It's not built yet all the way. So hopefully we'll be getting in this weekend. We've been pushed back like twice. And so that's been really frustrating. So we're actually in an Airbnb. It's so cute though. Like, we're having a good time, but we would really like to be in our apartment now. So we've been here for almost a month already and we still don't have an apartment. That's besides the point. We're fine. So to books now. I read 10 books this month. I had a lot of time on my hands. And so yeah, we'll just get into it. I have my phone here with all of their names on it because you know me, I read so many books that I can't keep the names straight. But once I like remember the name, I'm like, oh, right. Yes. So the first book I read was But He's My Grumpy Neighbor by Annah Conwell. And I gave this one 4 stars. It was super cute. It was an audiobook arc that I got from NetGalley. So real quick. All the books I read in October were arcs, actually. That's how it's been for the past few months. I've just only been able to read arcs because I've gotten so many. But I love it. I love reading books before they come out, hyping all these independent authors. It's really fun for me to do that. So I have no problem with it. Because they're books that I want to read anyway. So back to But He's My Grumpy Neighbor. So I gave this one 4 stars. It's about Juliet and Adrian. And obviously these two are neighbors and he's a grumpy guy, so it's Grumpy Sunshine. Juliet is kind of an introvert. She's really quiet and she's like instantly in love with Adrian. But it didn't feel like an insta love because I don't particularly enjoy insta love. It just doesn't feel realistic to me. But this one, it was really cute. It's been a minute since I listened to this, so like it's not totally on the back of my mind right now, but I just remember thinking it was just all around sweet and adorable. It was also an audiobook. I don't particularly enjoy audiobooks, but this one was honestly pretty well done. I enjoyed actually the male narrator, and I usually enjoy the female narrator, so I would honestly recommend the audiobook for this one. I don't think my experience would have been any different if I had read the book along with it, so I mean, take with that what you will, but I did enjoy the audiobook, and I am completely surprised because I don't usually enjoy them. But anyway, really sweet book. Kisses only, no cursing. Annah Conwell is like a really good author to pick up because she has so many books and they're all clean. So then I read If I'm Being Honest by C.P. Cabaniss. I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. I'm so bad because I've talked to her multiple times and I don't know how to say her name and I feel terrible. But this one's about Dimitri and Rose. And Rose is actually from the second book in the series. It's called The Vows. This is the third book. And Rose was kind of like the villain in the second book, kind of. And so this is like her redemption story. And she's like a makeup artist person for newscasting people. And Dimitri is the news guy. And so she does his makeup. So it's like a workplace romance, fake dating. And she is going home for the holiday for Thanksgiving, right? I think so. And she needs a fake boyfriend. And so they try to practice to fake date before they actually go to Thanksgiving so that they can look like a real couple. I gave it 3.5 stars, 4 stars. I will just tell you now, the author is really good at writing character growth with people who don't feel very confident or feel like they're not good enough. So that at least that's from her second book. I haven't read her first book in the series, but the second one, it was some serious character growth from both characters because they were both, oh my gosh. Because they were both, like, depressed and had some trauma. But in this one, Rose just feels like she doesn't belong in her family because she used to be extremely rude to her cousins. And so anyway, this is, like, her redemption arc. It was really cute. I really enjoyed Dimitri. He's, like, the perfect gentleman. He's so sweet and understanding. So I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Then I read Casters and Crowns by Elizabeth Lowham. And I gave this one 3.5 stars. It just fell a little flat, unfortunately. Oh, hold on. I actually have this book with me. I actually have this book. She sent it to me as an ARC. I've never gotten a physical copy for an ARC, and here we are. I have one, and it's really cool. So yeah, Casters and Crowns, Elizabeth Lowham. 3.5 stars. It's just, I wanted more. I really wanted more from this. It's a fantasy. There's like curses. She's cursed, basically. What else? Man, I'm having a really hard time remembering books from the beginning of this month. Because I'm pretty sure the first 3 books I read this month, I finished like in the on the 2nd. Because I'd been reading them in September and took them into October. So like they're not fresh on my mind and I'm getting really frustrated. This is about Arya and Baron. And Arya is the crown princess. And she gets cursed because she tries to make peace with this woman who is like basically the queen of the casters, which are the people who have magical abilities. And it goes awry and she is cursed. And so she is cursed to not be able to sleep for 100 days. And so she basically just wastes away this entire book. And she's trying to find a way to break it. And she can't tell anybody about it because that's part of the curse. She can't say anything. And so that's really tough. And anyway, so she recruits Baron, who is a caster. And she can't tell him that she's cursed, but he figures it out on his own. So he tries to help her break the curse. I just feel like the majority of the book was just her as a sleep-deprived person. And she never, I don't know, she just didn't, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like this could have been so much more, and I wanted more. Baron and Arya were really cute. They had really cute letters that were written, that they sent back and forth together, but they didn't really spend a lot of time together. Like, the only romance we get is within their letters, and I don't particularly enjoy that, but their letters were cute. It's super clean, nothing inappropriate. It's no swearing, kisses only. Not necessarily gore or anything or violence, but like in the end, there's like a fight scene, and so yeah, it was still good. I would still recommend it. I just wanted more from this book because I feel like it could have been just so much better. It had the foundation, the bones to be really, really good, and it just fell a little flat. Then I read Writing on the Wall by Cindy Raz. I gave this one 4 stars. It's about Ethan and Ivy, and Ethan is a contractor. He builds homes, and Ivy is a school teacher. And he is doing a project at the school, so they run into each other. And for some reason, they really don't get along. You figure out why they don't get along. It's kind of petty. He likes to get under her skin. He's absolutely gone for her. He's completely infatuated. She is still really not a fan of him for at least half the book. And then she slowly falls in love with him, obviously. He offers to help renovate this home that she inherits. There's that. Home renovations, forced proximity, enemies-ish to lovers. I really enjoyed it. It was really cute. There's a couple swears, not like explicit swears. Kisses only. Ultimately, just a really cute book. The characters were really funny. You won't catch me smiling or giggling in a book very often, because that just feels really strange to me, like being by myself and then all of a sudden smiling. that's just not the type of person that I am. But this one was funny. There were times when they have like this internal monologue in their head, and it's just like they call each other names in their head, and it's just kind of funny. So there's that one. That one was 4 stars. Super cute. Oh, and Cindy, she has written 1 book previously before this one, so this is like her only ever 2nd book, and I thought her writing was actually really, really great. Like she has a wonderful style of writing. Like, it's not cheesy. Like, to compare, some of Sarah Adams' first books are extremely, extremely cheesy. Like, the internal monologue in Sarah Adams' first books are like cringy cheesy. I still love them because they were like the first closed door romance books I ever read. But anyway, it just like really cringy. But like Writing on the Wall by Cindy Raz, it just didn't feel like that. Like, the internal monologue was actually funny. I didn't find it cringy, you may, but I didn't feel like it was. So this is the 2nd book in a series. Oh my gosh, what's it called? The King Brothers. So I think it's only 2 brothers. I think this is like the last book in this series. Oh, and previously my first book that I read, But He's My Grumpy Neighbor, is part of a series. It's the Carter Brothers series. I think it's the very first book in that one. I think there's like 4 or 5. I think there's 4. Maybe 5. Ugh, I don't remember. If I'm being honest, it's part of the Vows series. It's the 3rd book. Casters and Crowns, I think it's a standalone. I'm not totally sure. The ending kind of alluded to her sister having her own romance. Not totally sure. Don't quote me on that. And then Writing on the Wall is part of the King Brothers series. And I have not read that first book, but I would like to go back and read that now because I thought this one was really well done. Then I read Mistletoe Season. There's a specific word for it where authors compile a book together. They're like little novellas in one book. By Sheila Roberts, Kathleen Fuller, and Pepper Basham. And I ultimately gave it all together 3.5 stars. The first story I gave 3.5. The second one was by Pepper Basham, and I gave her 4 stars. And then the last one I gave 3 stars. I did not like the last one. I honestly skimmed it. It just was not interesting to me. I thought it was really boring. Not to be rude or anything. But Pepper Basham's book her part of the book was really cute. It's her Skymar series. The 3rd book, Luke, and oh my gosh, I forget her name, his love interest. She's a princess. Her brother is mentioned in Loyally Luke, but he doesn't have his own story, but he does now. So his story is in this Mistletoe Season, which was like kind of a nice surprise. I did not expect a character from her Skymar series to be in this book, but it was really cute. I really enjoyed that one. It was 4 stars for me. And then the other 2, I don't even remember what they were. Like the last book that I gave 3 stars to, it was like a mistletoe story where she has like like a bad streak under the mistletoe, and so she hates mistletoe. That's like the plot, and I just didn't find that very interesting. And then the first one it's about an older couple. They're in like their 40s. So that, first of all, doesn't interest me. I'm not 40 yet. She owns like her own antique store, and this guy comes back into town. And he used to live there, and so, anyway, it's not necessarily a second chance romance, but kind of. I'm sorry, my thoughts are, like, so jumbled right now, especially trying to keep track of these 3 stories in one. But if I were to recommend this, I would only recommend reading Pepper Basham's part of this book. Honestly, the first story was fine. The last one I did not care for. But Pepper Basham's was really sweet, and I wish it kind of was its own little novella on its own, because I really enjoyed these characters, and you see Luke and his love interest, don't remember her name right now, from Loyally Luke, and that was really enjoyable. So it was a cute holiday romance, 3 holiday romances. Then I read Home Run Heart by Hailey Gardiner, and I was so excited to get this arc because I applied for the first book in this series, which is Girl Meets Grump, and I actually have that book with me as well. I have this book too. Girl Meets Grump, this is the first book in this series. I don't think it's technically a series. Let me check it out. Okay, yeah, it's part of a series called Kit's Harbor series. This is book 1. I have not read this one yet, and I'm really sad. I really need to get to this. But the second book is Home Run Heart, and the main girl from this one, her sister is the main girl in Home Run Heart. So basically, it's about Nora and Brooks. And Nora is a recently divorced single mom. And her story's kind of sad. Her husband cheated on her, and so she got divorced, and now she's a single parent of a 2-year-old. She and Brooks are from the same hometown. It's a second chance romance. They dated in high school. He went off to play baseball, and they didn't end up together. She obviously ended up marrying somebody else. And so he plays professional baseball, the MLB. Is he in the MLB? I don't think he is. I think he's in like the tier below MLB. I don't remember. But it was really cute. I gave it 4 stars. No cursing. Kisses only. Oh, maybe there was a couple uses of the word. The H word. Like 2 uses of the H word. But I don't think it was technically cursing. Maybe saying the place. I don't remember. I just really like Hailey Gardiner's writing. She's super cute. It just... Her writing is just very wholesome and cozy. These 2, they rekindled their romance, and it was just really sweet. Like, they weren't enemies or anything like that. They didn't have hard feelings after breaking up, and they just come back together, and it was just really sweet. And Brooks is so cute with her son, and it was so cute. Then I read Let's Not and Sleigh We Did by J.P. Sterling. I gave this one 3 stars. Honestly, this is the first one this month, probably, that I wouldn't recommend. I did not enjoy it. I probably should have given it like 2.5 stars, but I just feel so terrible doing that. It just was not for me. It was supposed to be a marriage of convenience, but they like fake marriage of convenience. They're not even married. Like, they just pretend that they are. Like, they go to Vegas and like pretend, and they take pictures at like this wedding chapel, and they like fake getting married. So honestly, it's not a marriage of convenience in my mind. They just pretend that they're married for the sake of his parents, so that he can inherit this like country, his grandma's country home. And I just was not a fan. Like, these characters were so cringy to me. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like, I was really looking forward to this book because it's a holiday book, but like, holiday books almost always disappoint me. Almost always, because they're almost always too cheesy. There's really nothing to them. And there's just like, I don't know, like, maybe it's the authors that I'm choosing to read from, but like, this one was not, I did not enjoy it. I really didn't enjoy it. So I don't really want to say much past that, but it was supposed to be marriage of convenience, and it wasn't, and that's all you need to know. Okay, then I read later on Will Conspire by Kortney Keisel, and this was an audiobook that I listened to, an audiobook arc. And oh my gosh, my family is waking up this morning and deciding to text me. Okay, so this is about Lacey and Park is a secret agent, and he's on this mission, and he has like this partner that he's never met, and this partner is trying to see if Park is a dirty or a double agent. And so you kind of see her perspective every once in a while through this book, watching him. So Park runs into Lacey, who is this ditzy redhead who kind of messes up his plan on getting like this chip. He follows her all the way to Washington, to where she's going home for Christmas, because he plants the chip on her because these bad guys are after him, and if the chip is taken, bad things will happen if it's in the wrong hands. And so he plants it on her. She goes to Washington, and he follows her there because he needs the chip, because she ships the chip with her mother's Christmas present to Washington. And so he follows her, and they decide to have a little holiday fling, basically. Kisses only, no cursing. It was fun. It just was like, it was more than just a holiday romance. There's action. There's a little bit of violence. People die. Not the two main characters. So yeah, it's just more than a holiday romance, because there's action and there's an actual plot. So that was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. There's some things that were a little bit distasteful. I was like, oh, why was that in here? But ultimately, it was enjoyable. It keeps you on your toes. There's a plot twist. Lots of fun stuff in it. I would recommend it. And this book is part of a multi-author series that came out 2 years ago, I think, during the holiday. I think 2 years ago. And I've almost read all of them now. I would recommend all of them. Honestly, I would. They were all really, really well done. Because all these authors that come together, they usually come together multiple times, and I've enjoyed them a lot. Then I read Creatures of Chaos by Julie Hall, and this was a fantasy romance, and I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. It's different than anything I've ever read before. It was an urban fantasy, I've never read urban fantasy before. That doesn't intrigue me. I don't want to read like a fantasy in nowadays times or like set in the future, but it was really enjoyable. It's about Lachlan, who is powerless. She does not have magical shifter abilities, because everybody she goes to school with, it's YA, by the way, and it stays YA, which is why I probably enjoyed it, because there's no inappropriate behavior, inappropriate language, nothing like that. And that was like a breath of fresh air, because I feel like a lot of popular YA romances, fantasy romances in particular, are really not YA. They should definitely be labeled as new adult or adult. But this one was YA, and that's probably why I liked it so much. Anyway, Lachlan is a powerless person and a creature. And all of her friends, like, she only has 2 friends, but everybody she goes to school with are like shifters or vampires Like shifters as in like they can shift into anything. Like her best friend Bex is a dragon shifter, so he can shift into a dragon. And then her girl best friend is Beck's sister, and she, oh my gosh, what is she? I think she's a vampire. And it's, just to say right now, it is a love triangle. I don't like love triangle, but this was well done, and I want to see it be resolved in books 2 and 3 because I think it's going to be a trilogy. And so I'm like super disappointed that it leaves on this cliffhanger that is like, wow, why did they do that? Why is this happening? So I can't wait to get book 2 and 3 out because I need to see how this relationship moves forward. Anyway, so basically Lachlan hates that she doesn't have any sort of powers because both of her parents are like, her dad is a bear shifter or something like that, and her mother is a fae. And so she's just like super distraught, and she just thinks that she's not good enough. Bex is a dragon shifter, her best friend, and she loves him so much. She like is in love with him, and he is just friends with her. And so she like fights her feelings for him the entire time, and it is a love triangle. So if that doesn't tell you what happens. Anyway, she enters into chaos, which is a brutal like competition between creatures, and she steps over the line and she's like locked into this championship, and Bex is like super angry at her, and so the winning prize is like this dagger that will give you like all power, and so she enters the competition because she is without powers, and so she wants to win it. And Talon is the other male love interest, and he enters the competition. And because he needs the knife for certain reasons. Love triangle between Lachlan and then Talon and Bex. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun fantasy. This is my first book by Julie Hall. She has multiple other series that I would like to read. But I ultimately did enjoy this one, and I would recommend it. Okay, the last book I read this month was One Little Chance by Rebecca Jo Jackson, and I gave this one 4.25 stars. I found it so funny when I do the 0.25 or the 0.75 stars. Just like why. I've explained why in previous videos, where it's not good enough to be 4.5 stars, but it's not bad enough to be 4 stars, even though 4 stars isn't a bad review. 4.25 stars. I just really like Rebecca's writing. One of my very first arcs that I ever got was her first book her second book in the series, Lucy Loves Him Not. And this is like a novella in this series, Sweet River series, so it's like side characters that aren't necessarily part of the series. It's about Sophia and Jordan, and it's a second chance romance, and so it takes, the plot actually takes place over a few years, which is actually really interesting because it is a novella. It's particularly short, but it made sense, and I think that's why I enjoyed it, is because it went through these years in a small span of time, because this book is a novella. It's not very long, and so I enjoyed that, but it wasn't an insta-love at all, and it takes place, like, it's a second chance romance, so these two, Sophia and Jordan, come back together. She moves back to their hometown, and he's there, and they kind of rekindle their romance very slowly, so really it was not insta-love. It didn't feel rushed, which was crazy. Like, it was just really well done, and it's like the first Christmas holiday romance that I've actually been like, wow, I really enjoyed this, and I could honestly see myself picking this up every year, which is not very often. Like, there aren't very many books that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna read this again. This one felt like I could pick it up every year because it's a quick read. It's a novella, like I said. It's just like I said in my review, it's just like a really big warm hug. It's just like the coziest romance. They're such cute characters. I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. So yeah, kisses, no cursing, love it. It's just a sweet, wholesome, cute romance. It's not heavy or anything, but they've both been through some serious heartbreak, and so coming back together, falling in love again, I really, really loved it. So I was editing my video, and I realized that the last like 2 minutes of my footage just disappeared, and so my outro's gone. The last couple of minutes of my review of One Little Chance disappeared. Not totally sure what happened, but I got my microphone here because I don't have my table anymore. I moved my table. I deconstructed my entire setup, and I have to start my outro over again. So anyway, I was on One Little Chance. It's like one of those holiday romances that is like a staple. Like, you know how you have like Christmas movies that you watch every year, you can never get sick of them. Like at my house, we always watched Home Alone and all the Santa Clauses. And so this book felt like that. It felt like a book that I could pick up every year, never get sick of. It's just a staple. So yeah, really loved it. Highly recommend. Honestly, I could see myself rating it 4.5, 5 stars the next time I read it. I really, really enjoyed it and highly recommend. And I was reviewing my footage, and you can hear like this light tapping sound in the background. I feel like for like the majority of my video. And I will just tell you now, that is a lovely little woodpecker here who pecks on this in the kitchen. And I've tried to scare it away, and it has no fear. It does not leave. So I'm so sorry for that little annoying light little tapping that you can hear in the background this entire time. But he's gone now, so that's fine. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I feel so bad that I haven't recorded videos very often. I'm hopeful that I'll get out. I'm hopeful that I can get out more than one video this month, but who knows? My schedule is absolutely free, so hopefully I'll be able to get a couple out this month because I have loads of time on my hands. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.